history in that, and perhaps the best takedown of Jordan Peterson was written by Nathan J. Robinson in Current Affairs. Nathan has been on this show a number of times, but as Nathan writes, Peterson's reach is astounding. His book is the #1 most read book on Amazon. One person said when he came across a physical copy of it, quote, "I wanted to hold it in my hands and contemplate its significance for a few minutes as if it were one of Shakespeare's pens or a Gutenberg Bible." Now that is devotion. As Nathan writes, the world's leading newspapers have declared him one of the most important living thinkers. The Times says his message is overwhelmingly vital. David Brooks says Peterson, quote, might be the most influential public intellectual in the Western world right now. Now, how does Jordan Peterson get all this acclaim? To me, it seems, and to be fair, I have not read 12 Rules for Life, although I intend to. It seems to me, I've read excerpts of it, as well as articles both in favor and against Jordan Peterson. It seems to me that he takes a certain type of disaffected individual, especially predominantly, I would say, white males, and tells them that they have a reason for being, that they have a higher purpose, that they have a reason to be part of this world, part of this universe, and I think they are responding in droves. Remember, Jordan Peterson is a psychologist, and by the way, his work as a psychologist has been extremely well received in the psychological community. He has a book called Maps of Meaning that has been highly praised, so he's a very bright and gifted guy. And I think he is, in a sense, providing counseling to disaffected and lonely kids, basically, first of all, and young men. I think that his primary function in the world, now Nathan has a lot of other thoughts about him, that Nathan says, you know, if you want to appear profound, take something that everybody agrees on and then couch it in unintelligible language. Now, and people will think you're profound. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that while he may be serving as a kind of counselor for the disaffected, Jordan B. Peterson is also offering some very disturbing advice. Case in point is a clip I'm about to play for you now, and I'm going to play about a minute of it because I think it's important to hear the kind of information he's conveying to his primarily male, although not exclusively, his primarily male audience. So could we play that first clip, please?
Like what? Here's a rule.
Don't
How about no makeup in the workplace?
Why would that be a rule?
Why should you wear makeup in the workplace? Isn't that sexually provocative?
No.
It's not?
No.
Well, what is it then? What's the purpose of makeup?
Some people would like to just put on makeup.
Why?
I don't know why.
Why do you make your lips red? Because they turn red during sexual arousal. That's why. Why do you put rouge on your cheeks? Same reason.
I mean, look.
How about high heels?
What are they
for?
About high heels?
What about them? They're there to exaggerate sexual attractiveness. That's what high heels do. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't use sexual displays in the workplace. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that that is what they're doing. And that is what they're doing.
Do you feel like a serious woman who does not want sexual harassment in the workplace, do you feel like if she wears makeup in the workplace that she is somewhat being critical?
Yeah.
So, okay, now let's think about this for a second. You know, it's the old rhetorical trick. Now, I'm not saying, but what he's really doing here is he's using sort of pseudo evolutionary biology or some variant of evolutionary biology to argue what he says he's not saying. To be clear, he says he's against sexual harassment, but he's basically giving a rationale. It says, well, it's okay to come on to a woman in the workplace or say something sexually inappropriate in the workplace. He's almost giving permission while he's saying you shouldn't do it. He's saying it's her fault because she wears lipstick or high heels, and lipstick simulates arousal. So let's perform a thought exercise here. I noticed that, and if you're watching this on video, you will notice too, that Jordan B. Peterson was wearing a tie while he made that statement. He was wearing a sport jacket which with enhanced shoulders, as many sport jackets have. Now, why? Let me play Jordan Peterson for a second. Why is he wearing a tie? Because it is a simulated penis. Why is he wearing enhanced shoulders in his sport jacket? Because it is simulating male aggression and strength. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong, but if I went up and punched Jordan B. Peterson in the face really hard, now I'm not suggesting I should, but if I went up and I punched Jordan B. Peterson in the face really hard, surely he should be aware that he was telegraphing excessive aggressive masculinity and large penis size with his choice of clothing. And surely Jordan B. Peterson should take some responsibility for that. Now, see what I did there? I did a Jordan Peterson on Jordan Peterson. Now, obviously, I think that what I just said is ridiculous, just as I think that what he said is ridiculous. What's also striking to me about it is someone who's thought and written about issues of Muslim rights and the divisions in the Muslim world, is that the position that he's insinuating is that women should not just make themselves attractive in any way, that would be the ideal condition. Because remember, he began with no lipstick in the workplace, and it strikes me that that is awfully similar to Puritans and to extremist Wahhabi Muslims and ISIS and those types of groups who also feel that women should not make in any way an attractive or sexual display of ourselves. And you know what's odd about that is that Jordan Peterson doesn't seem to like Muslims. Let's play the second Jordan Peterson clip.
With the feminists, it's got to be because Muslims right now are higher up on the victim hierarchy than them. So even if it's way over there, they're not allowed to speak out against.
I think it's their unconscious wish for brutal male domination.
I don't think so.
Man,
I like that. That's fun.
I like that. That's fun. Okay, we won't even deal with the interviewer right now. Okay, so their wish for brutal male domination. First of all, what they were talking about was why don't feminists attack, I guess, all Muslims, you could say, is one interpretation. And Jordan B. Peterson doesn't think, well, because one oppressed group understands what it feels like to be oppressed and does not want to inflict that on another oppressed group. He would never think of that. Instead, he sees Muslims as practitioners of brutal male domination, aka rape, I suppose. And he suggests that they want it, that they have a fantasy about it. This is, look, I can forgive Jordan Peterson a lot, but that's tough for me to forgive. And it just, I think as a psychologist, Mr. Peterson is undoubtedly aware of the phenomenon of projection, which I think is what you're seeing here, is that he is projecting onto the Muslim world a strong, aggressive attitude toward women, and projecting onto women, particularly feminists, a perversely dominant, submissive view of all human relationships. So I kind of think that Jordan Peterson needs a good therapist. Perhaps he knows one through his professional connections. But I do want to say this, in fairness to everyone, in fairness to Jordan Peterson's fan base, in fairness to Jordan B. Peterson himself, it is incumbent upon those of us who reject his ideas, and by the way, among his ideas, he thinks there's something called cultural Marxism. He thinks that Marxists failed to take over the government and the economy, so they decided to attack the culture instead with social justice warriors and that sort of thing. But interestingly enough, he has never named a single individual who began their lives as Marxists and then began fighting in the media for social justice. He can't do it because they don't exist. So what he's really doing again is othering, that is, making a devil, a demon, an outsider, a scapegoat out of anyone who disagrees with him. So, but again, in fairness to Jordan Peterson, let's be fair to the guy for a minute here. He is saying something that resonates with a lot of people. I think if we as communicators, if we as progressives, social progressive, cultural progressives, people of the left, however you want to characterize us, if we want to be fair to the world, if we want to create a better world, we should be thinking about what exactly Jordan Peterson is speaking to in the human spirit, at least the spirits of those who buy what he's putting down. So in furtherance of that, I will read his book, number one. Number two, I think we should talk a lot about meaning. And I think we should think about meaning. I think one of the things that Democrats and liberals in particular have failed to do is connect their politics and their ideology with a sense of higher purpose and meaning. Now, there's a reason why a pastor named Rick Warren can write a book that talks about the purpose-driven life and suddenly become one of the richest authors in the world. There's a reason why a psychologist like Jordan B. Peterson can write a book, The 12 Rules for Life, How to Escape from the Chaos, and become an overnight media sensation. It is because people need, and frankly, people deserve meaning in their life. Now, those of us who are perhaps a little further on the left than the corporate Democratic or mainstream liberal viewpoint, I mean, I think we can offer that, number one. Number two, I think rather than look down on people who have chosen in the marketplace of ideas a product that we think is bogus, rather than look down on them, I think we might want to think about what purpose are they serving? What niche is being filled here? And can't we do that better with our ideas? Because you know what? I think we can. Whether it's tolerance, whether it's plurality, whether it is concern for one another, whether it is economic justice, social justice, these are all values that can be pulled together toward, in a fight for a higher ideal. In fact, I would argue that there are many times in American and world history when they have been pulled together. So rather than just mock Jordan Peterson, and by the way, Jordan, you're welcome to come on the program anytime, and I mean that. We might even have some of his followers or fans on. Rather than just mock the guy, let's think about what he's giving to people that causes them to write, as one Alexander Bloom did after interviewing him, that Peterson's influence on the net good of the world has undeniably been more positive than the life's work of a million well-intentioned spirits who neglected the demons rising in their own communities. I am not on the left, this guy writes, nor am I on the right. I am an ape that has evolved over hundreds of millions of years to wield tools and shape my environment beyond my ability to control. This is what Jordan Peterson talks about. To be fair, this is what we should be talking about too, how we evolved, got to where we are today, why we're in trouble, and what the big picture solution is for getting us out of that trouble and building a better world. That's why I say, as Richard RJ Eskow is the host of this program, we will be right back, and this is the Zero Hour.